There it is. Now it's ready. Now we're rolling.
All right, here we go. We'll get it started in 3, 2, and 1. It's time to reopen at least parts of the economy, at least in Arizona, where we are based. This is the Brewmance podcast. My name is Rob Hunter, joined by my main man, Mike Russell. We know division is thriving. We want to get past that, crack open good beers, have great conversations with great friends. Today, we have a very special guest joining us. We'll get to her in just a second, as she's going to be going through this process of reopening. And that's exactly what we're going to talk to her about. But first, Mike Russell, I will tell you my beer, because your beer leads right into Laura. My beer is international. This is quarantine, clean out Rob's beer fridge, so he's no longer hanging on to the good beers. So I have some friends in New Zealand. They've been on our Brewmance happy hours. They brought me a Garage Project. Yes. Wellington, New Jersey, fresh IPA. Look at that can art. Check out the video if you're listening to this podcast on YouTube.
Well, it's way cool. Is it? But wait a second. Is it normal size? Because the rest of the stuff he brought was like 10 ounces or something nonsense like that. You feel like you're getting gypped. And then you go, America, we have 12 ounces.
440 milliliters on this one.
Yeah, whatever. I don't speak Spanish. Okay. Then my beer is right out of Saddle Mountain Brewing right here. It is Raised Gold, which is a fantastic story behind that. We'll get to that in just a moment, but one of my very, 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 very favorite places to be. And I'm so excited that we are reopening, and it brings us our guest, the owner of Saddle Mountain Brewing. It is Laura. Hi, Laura.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yay.
So glad to be here.
We're so excited, and we're excited that at least Doug Ducey was, at least our governor, was not threatened by the president, just simply threatened by his presence, and decided to give us all a date and allow us to open up all of our small businesses, at least give us dates to open up the majority of our small businesses here in the state.
I think there's still some that aren't quite defined yet, right? Some of the bigger stuff.
Correct. Okay. And like gyms and stuff like that, still not there. But for us, at least for me, not for Rob. Rob's all about the gyms. I'm all about dining and eating. So let's get to one of the best eateries in the West Valley, in the state, in Maricopa County. Let me tell you something. It is fantastic. Saddle Mountain Brewing. I'll talk about the nachos some other time because they're perfect.
They do get a lot of airplay from you, Mike.
Yes, because we'll just keep those on the menu, and we're good.
Yeah, Mike's a guaranteed customer as long as those nachos are there.
As long as I keep nachos on.
That's right. So if you could let us know what are the obstacles of opening up? We're just right around the corner. We're talking like early next week. What are the obstacles? Obviously, it's not just flipping a switch. What are the obstacles and what?
It really isn't. Yeah, it really isn't. You know, the switch was flipped the opposite way in like 24-hour notice, like shut it down. You know what I mean? So, and at that point we talked a little bit, and we didn't have to-go stuff. We weren't primarily to-go, so we're getting that from a supply chain, and that wasn't the next day. It was a couple days and all that kind of stuff. So reversing back out of it, there proved some challenges. And when I first said I had an opinion and kind of alerted you to my opinion of all of this for small businesses, I had not received any assistance that day or prior. So everything we've been paying our employees has come out of pocket. And believe you me, there is not enough traffic to come in to actually pay all the bills, So the bank account was getting smaller and smaller, trying to keep as many people employed for as long as I could. Hadn't seen the PPP, even though I applied for it day one, hadn't seen it the day after I told you guys. Lo and behold, I got the PPP funds. So What was going to be the conversation prior to that happening was, I'm not going to be able to open at the capacity people would be anticipating me doing so. And I think that's true for a lot of small businesses, that they maybe don't have the employees that they can afford. We are not doing the kind of business that our original business plans were set up to do, and therefore struggling to even pay cost of goods or employees or electric bills or that kind of thing. So when you say, oh, great, we're allowed to dine in, but I have to get digital menus or some other format, I have to provide way more sanitation than I had before. Maybe they're doing gloves that I didn't used to have for every employee. Now I have to buy these gloves for all these employees. There's expenses to opening back up that would not have ever otherwise been, a thing that was on your business plan. So if you're struggling and you're at that bottom line where, oh my God, if we can't get back open in a week or two, I'm shutting my doors for maybe good, or maybe until it's back to more normal. Maybe I have a little funds, but it's only to pay the bill payment or something.
Right.
It wasn't an easy concept. So our idea was that we would possibly just continue to go ordering, not convert the kitchen back over to porcelain, silver, and all of those things, but just maintain to go ordering. And if you choose to sit down, did you guys go somewhere? Crap.
No, we're right here.
We're still here.
Right, we're right here. We see you.
There you go.
Sorry. I have to wiggle the mouse every once in a while.
I did it on my phone, right?
Hey,
yeah.
It's not that kind of a show, all right?
Not that we're opposed to that. We're just doing not on the podcast.
What we converted out of our kitchens was all this in-dining stuff to make way for all of this to go. Now we're going to have to convert that back. And if you choose to do, so we weren't going to choose to do that. We were going to continue to go, but you may choose to sit down. If you want, we will bring you another disposable cupped beer. That was going to be our guide for, all right, I'm not really going to hire any more people. I'm not going to bring back those people I had to lay off because I can't afford to, and there's no money for them either.
Right.
And if you choose to tip us, we would appreciate that. If you want to sit down and have a few drinks while you're eating your to-go box of food, great. But then I told you, the very next morning at like 6 a.m., my phone blings and I'm like, oh, bank alert, what's that all about? And I'm like, oh, shit, awesome. I got to be elated for like 5 minutes, right? Win the lottery, but it's not that. But it did alleviate some stress. It says, yay, for the next 2 months,
okay, I
really do have payroll under control. In fact, I can be a little bit like, if you need overtime, go for it because you haven't gotten any, you know what I mean? And I'm not able to bring back, not because I don't want them, but we still don't necessarily have as much business as March when we ended. I had a 59
and let me ask you, Laura, do you have like a number, a percentage of what, and I don't want to say drop off, it's not the appropriate term, but obviously it's a different business model. So if 100% is operating at full capacity, what does to-go orders and how did that change for you guys at Saddle Mountain Brewing?
Okay, relative to employees, or we're going to kind of keep employees out and just revenue cash flow? Are you just talking
let's just talk revenue because I think we can extrapolate from that the difference in payroll and why you had to furlough people.
So,
was it 50%, 70%?
Calculators out, friends. Here you go. On average during the peak season, I'll just be really honest, people can know it's fine. Saddle Mountain on weekdays in March, which is when, the gravy months, it's
big
awesome.
Season. Yep.
Great profitability during those months that we can use in July and August and September when it's a little lower.
That's the Valley business model, essentially. Build up in February and March when we have tourists. Sustain through particularly May, June, July, August.
You totally understand it. It's relative. We were doing no less than 9,000 a day and hitting maybe on a Friday 18,000, on a Saturday 18,000-ish, maybe a little more here and there. Everybody was able to pay their rent. All my employees had overtime or extra, they're banking on that too. They're using it to help their July bills also because, or maybe buy a car. I don't know. But the moment it shut down, that very first week, we weren't shut down. So spring training closed down. We were still open. Yay. We had a bunch of tourists still here. We didn't really see a huge drop off in that first week from the 12th to the 19th per se. Then all of a sudden they closed our dining down. And I'll be honest, that very first weekend after they closed our dining down and we went solely to to-goes was what I like to call a honeymoon period. Everyone's, oh no, and we'll support local and we'll have restaurants. And don't get me wrong, I'm not begrudging that. I think that's awesome and I'm very much appreciative. But that honeymoon period was kind of crazy. I had laid off a bunch of employees. We brought back on some because I'm like, wow, way more money coming in than I had anticipated. Well, that weekend. And then that honeymoon, that great support local. People are tired of going out. The stay-at-home order is in place. And we just see a major drop-off. Mondays and Tuesdays, we're doing hundreds of dollars, not thousands. Maybe, I think Friday, the Easter before Friday, Friday before Easter, was a $7,000 day. Oh, great. But that's, the day before and the day after were $2,500. and I'm used to these $9,000, this March thing. And honestly, there was a Monday we did $700. There was a Tuesday we did 11. My payroll was $1,200 and $1,400. So, and that's not including management. That's just hourly clock in against your POS shows you, here's your revenue, here's your labor.
And rent and electricity and all those other factors too. Our supplies to brew the beer, supplies to actually make the food. So if the payroll was more than actually bringing in, so that's obviously the challenge.
Cost of goods are still out of pocket to me, and it's not being paid for by business in general. I'm one of the fortunate ones. We had done well, and I had been saving up to redo the patio and all that stuff. So we kind of had a little cushion, maybe about 3 months of a cushion, but we were into our second month when I hadn't received anything. I'm like, oh, we either got to open at some sort of normal so I at least don't hemorrhage. It was fine that, I wasn't profiting, but I can't keep hemorrhaging.
Exactly.
Right. And I remember speaking to you. I remember being in your location when you were, I believe when CARES Act passed and the PPP applications were open. And I remember speaking to you that day. And I think you spoke for the vast majority of small businesses in this nation saying, I don't know really what I have all my accounting together. I have everything they need, but I don't know what's next. I have no idea what all of this, how it all works or when it's going to show up.
They didn't know either.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, right.
Yeah, they didn't know. In fact, I just got an email right before I got on with you guys. I was trying to read it and I got off of it. But from the lending agency that I actually went to, which by the way was the second one, because the first one still haven't heard. My big bank that I actually bank with, still haven't heard a word.
Wow.
Went through another one within 7 days. Totally done deal. Money in the account. But I'd been waiting for 2 months. But some people who got the money 2 months ago, guess what's running out?
Yeah.
Because it was 2.5 months. Exactly. And we're still not open at a capacity in which we would hope to be.
So what does that look like going forward as we kind of get into reopening phase? What does that mean for Saddle Mountain, Laura? And again, Laura Hansen's with us. She's the owner of Saddle Mountain Brewing, Goodyear, Arizona. They make fantastic beer. Mike loves the nachos. The pizza's really, really good.
Thank you.
That we kind of want a sense of normalcy, but we know it's not going to be the same normal, at least not yet. So what does that mean for you guys?
Well, it means we have to live up to an expectation that's impossible at the moment. We're not going to be able to have these groups of jubilant people enjoying their time together. We're debating. Today was the meeting, which is why I'm glad I'm talking to you afterwards, of kind of our game plan.
Yeah.
I have managers right now.
Let me just pause that real quick, Laura, because this is, again, the challenge of being a small business owner right now, one that particularly that serves food and beer in which we love, is the government is making these decisions. And Ducey changed his mind within 5 days, and it gave small businesses like Laura a week to try to figure out how to open, how to get enough gloves or masks or sanitation equipment, which is already hard to come by.
People who want to come back.
Yeah, and that's it. And then your employees, because we talked to Brian Helton, whom you know, and at Helton Brewing, he's like, I have employees that are making more money on unemployment than they're going to get working for me, so they're not going to be coming back. I'm sure you're facing the same thing.
2 more additional months of this, the
Exactly.
COVID-19 $600 a week extra. Yeah, I'm sorry. When you offer them more, who wouldn't in their right mind?
Right.
And I give Mike a lot of credit because he saw that right away and he called it out right away. He says, you're going to have a big group of people that are servers that, probably make pretty good money at certain points.
Back of the house, because I'm bragging a little bit here when I say in the West Valley, Saddle Mountain provides a very nice living for my servers. It really, really does.
Awesome.
But my back of house, who are $12, $13, $14, $15, $18 an hour people, $800 a week, pretty good stuff.
Especially too if you're like 22 years old and you're just starting your career. Sorry, Mike, didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, exactly. Some of them are 19, living on their own, and they've never seen that kind of money.
Exactly.
Or they've been thrown into a situation where it's husband, wife, and kids. Kids are now home, no school anymore, and you think, okay, there's the two of us, honey, and this is $1,600, $1,700 a week. If we're both staying home and our kids are home, we don't have to provide daycare. I don't begrudge anybody for that. That's a life decision they have to make. That's a business decision, but it's still hamstring small business owners. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And how are you overcoming that?
So as our meeting finished today, right 20 minutes before I got on with you guys, they're in there addressing that. So I have managers right now emailing, texting, and calling former employees who have all mentioned, when are we opening, boss? We'd like to come back. We love Saddle. So we're reaching out to them. Whether that means they're going to come back is on them. You know what I mean? We're offering it to everyone that was working here. For the most part, again, we ended in March. We're opening back up in May. I don't need 59 employees. I just don't. There's just not enough business. But now I'm forced to, happily so, by the PPEP to use all this money in 8 weeks. I mean, that is what the stipulation was. Like, all right.
And that is covered then. It's like a write-off at that point. The government's like, okay, this is forgiven from the overall loan.
Correct. Mm-hmm. So they come back. Everybody gets not a raise per se, but what if the hours don't constitute using up this money that I have to use? It's a certain amount, and we hit 3/4 of that. What do? Do I bonus out everybody? Because I can't really increase their pay because my regular business plan, which really, Prop 206 really hurt after a while, you know what I mean, has morphed into what it is today, but it doesn't constitute in the future the people I have making, let's say, a $12 an hour dishwasher person that I could pay $15 for the next 2 months. Should it be a bonus? Should it be an increase? I can't keep paying them $15 once we're back to kind of normality.
And that was it. Prop 206 was a minimum wage proposition ballot. If you're listening outside of Arizona, we have ballot propositions, which you can basically put on a ballot as long as you get enough signatures, and then people get to vote yes or no. We voted to raise the minimum wage, which is now at $12 an hour.
I don't know who you're talking about.
I don't know,
yeah. Well, I didn't vote for it either.
Over there, buddy. It wouldn't be.
Well, we collectively, right? The state of Arizona decided.
We're not economists. All those who signed the back of paychecks voted to increase that.
Well, those that understand the stresses that would put. But I want to talk about that because we don't even know yet who's ready to come out. Because all we're knowing is, okay, Mike's ready to go out. I'm ready to go out. I'm ready to go to Saddle Mountain Brewing and sit down and
I'm ready to sit with you guys and enjoy it.
Hey, I'm ready. But I don't know how many people are ready, and no one actually knows. Because what Mike and I have been talking about on our afternoon show on 550 KFY is there's going to be a first wave of people. We just don't know how big that wave is and where they're going to spread out.
And
which
their
is another challenge for you. Yeah, exactly right. And yes, how long does that last? Is there a honeymoon period? Probably so, just like you experienced, Laura, when people were like, great. Because now what I don't know if I'm going to have a job in 2 months because of all the economic effects. So for us, on our paying jobs, it's advertising, right? Yeah. And people are not advertising right now because they don't know what the future looks like. So if ad revenue goes down, continues to go down, it's way down. That could affect Mike and my employment. So that means, okay, so I might have a honeymoon period, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, how long am I going to have a job? So if I go to Saddle Mountain next week when it opens, I feel good about it. And I might drop maybe $100. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Okay,
but in 2 weeks, if the economy is not like back up recovered, right? I'm like, whoa, maybe I shouldn't go because I need to hoard and keep my money just in case I don't have a job.
And that's a true statement too. And all these people that maybe have this extra money that they're unemployed have it now, but unemployment stops. It doesn't continue. So then, are they also going, I'm not going to go out and patronage places either. So
I think you just kind of plan and say, look, this is what we're going to do and see what happens and keep adjusting, kind of like you've done over the last couple of months, really.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, flying by the seat of your pants, like it's changing hourly and daily, and and the stress levels are insane. I don't sleep at night, constantly going, how to make better, how to fix it, how long is this going to last? And even if we do open, it is not normal. It is not what it was.
So when you do open, tell me what it's going to be like coming into Saddle Mountain. Why is it? I mean, Doug Ducey painted a picture. Our governor painted a picture of looking like a server just scrubbed in, and they're holding their hands up, and they go to the table with a mask on and tell people that they just wash their hands.
If you guys have read the guidance, right? Like what they're, and again, the guidance, let's use that word correctly.
Correct. It's
to guide us. It wasn't the mandate what you're doing. Now, within that guidance are more very open terms and very, let's interpret them as we wish terms, and others that are obviously pretty concrete. And a lot of that is, what is your policy going to be? Do I personally believe masks are a good idea? Not for healthy individuals. if you are an employee of mine and you'd like to wear one, am I going to shun you? Absolutely not. Of course, you do you. You're an adult. Make your decision, right? Do some research. Do what you need. We'll definitely mandate through our business, don't come to work if you're sick. Just don't, you know? But mask wearing, whether you believe or not that it's more beneficial for COVID-19 versus your everyday health, you're on the side of, you know, we need some viruses in our life, good bacteria. We need exposure to certain things. Breathing in the carbon dioxide we're exhaling all the time, the bacteria we're sucking through this mask because it's wet, because we breathe out moisture, you know, all of that kind of stuff. I don't know that I'm not a doctor, but I also am logically thinking I kind of want all the oxygen I can get.
Imagine that.
Silly you.
Right? Yeah, and I think, you know, children, adults need to help make decisions for, but adults, make your damn decision. Do what's right for you, which also includes all of those that are hypersensitive on that end. Free country, at least we're hoping it stays that way. Do what you need to do, but don't come in. So I'm a little worried about the backlash. I think most of the people are going to be awesome. I think everyone's going to be happy to come back out. We're going to be super happy to see them. Giving my sanitation guidelines to my staff, you know, increasing things that really we were doing anyhow. Let's just be more visual with that. Let's just make it so people see we're wiping down the doorknobs and, you know, wiping the backs of chairs off with sanitizer and, you know, doing a decent social distancing, but that poses a problem. They're like 6 feet between people. Great. Or diners. I'm sorry. The guidance was 6 feet between diners.
How do you do that at a table?
It's the wrong. What if you two came in together? Do I have to provide 6 feet between you two at the same table?
I think Mike and I are okay being 3 feet apart.
You know, so I think there's that interpretation. And does that mean if somebody is walking past you to go to their table, that you have to provide this 12-foot hallway to do so? I did appreciate that they did not give us a distinctive percentage to reduce by, but with that 6 foot kind of, you know, remember when it was 18 inches, everybody? Remember when that was your personal space? Like, I'm uncomfortable if you're within my 18 inches. But now it's 6 feet, right?
Right.
But that, you know, I think we all have to use our brains. We can't come in and assume anything. You know, observation is good. Paying attention a little longer than your initial, you know, whoa, wait, there's 8 people all sitting together at the bar. Well, what if they all came in together?
Right.
You know, what if I have 6 feet, one chair every 6 feet, but a group of 4 comes in? Well, that narrows that people that are already sitting there. Do we just say no altogether, or do we say we're one big happy family, it's less than 10?
But I like this, though. I've been to several restaurants where they have the menu outside of the door, and I walk up and I check it out, and I'm like, nah, nothing like that seems fired up to me. And I get in the car and I go somewhere else. It could be the same way. You walk in and you just go, that they're sitting in a way I don't like. I'm going to go somewhere that might have that. That's it. Act like a grown up.
Please and thank you. Please act like a grown up. Make the decision for yourself. If you walk in and it seems a little crowded for you, don't stay.
Yeah, exactly.
Please come back again tomorrow. It might be less, you know.
Sure.
I'm not saying you're banned because you're upset about something. I'm just saying be reasonable. We will do all that we can do within the reason of the profession. There, you have to talk to people. You know, we're going to be delivering beers that sweat down the side. I prefer hand washing and hand sanitizer over gloves because I think it's a false sense of security for a lot of reasons. They touch stuff they don't remember touching, and now it's still all on their gloves. But if it's on your hands, you go, oh, I need to address that and take care of that. So will people who are touching your food have gloves? Absolutely. They did before this all happened. Will people that are delivering your food have gloves? I think we're going to go ahead and say yes on that one personally in our business. But my server who may never, ever touch your food ever because they're taking your order, they're talking to you, they're making sure things get done. We have delivery people of beer. We have delivery people of food because I need to hire back a bunch of people. So we're going to have all those. You know, those people who touch your stuff, let's go ahead and put gloves on them until we feel more comfortable with all of it. But you're not probably going to see very many people wearing masks, not because I'm banning it or not suggesting it or whatever, but because they get to make their own decision.
Well, and I'll put it this way. So I've been going to this gym that has opened up, defying the orders, and the business owner's doing it for very similar reasons to you, Laura, in the fact that he's like, look, I have bills to pay. I got rent to pay. I'm 2 weeks away from losing my business. He applied for an SBA loan, didn't come through. And it was in between the first stimulus and the second stimulus, and it ran out of money. And he was right in that window where he's like, I don't know when this second one's going to pass. I don't know how long it would take me for them to get a loan. So I'm going to open up. Plus, he's an American, and he's like, I'm opening up because I'm an American and I like to work, and this is my life, my blood, sweat, and tears, just like you and Jacob, right?
To do so.
Exactly right. So he opened up, and I went in there, and it was the first kind of sense of normal that I've had since this started. And then I've been to the gym, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. I went into the grocery store the other day. After going to the gym 4 or 5 times, and again, there's the social distancing markers, and there's people in masks and gloves, and it feels Twilight Zone-y. So I understand the risks of the mask, not mask, but I also know that it is not a guarantee that if I wear a mask, I'm not going to get sick, because I could touch something. I could rub my eye. I could lick my finger to grab money or whatever. And that's exactly right. So, I think we've kind of got into that point where we think that the mask and the gloves are guaranteed or close to a guarantee. I'm like, no, that's not it. Being careful, no matter what you do and where you go, is the key. So if you're not comfortable sitting at the bar next to someone, you can either leave or move, or like, I'm going to go stand up in the corner.
You are more comfortable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So I guess I'm curious too, is you've had conversations with other brewers and other business owners. How close are we to losing some? And you have talked very honestly, and I love that you have done that. The struggles of going from making a good profit on a Monday to not making enough to pay the payroll on a Monday in a matter of 6 weeks, in that change, in how long it's going to take to ramp up. Because I think what Mike and I are most concerned about is that ramp up, if it's too slow, is going to cost businesses. They're going to have to shut down, which is only going to lead to more unemployment, which only is going to exacerbate the entire problem. And this was all done by choice, I want to keep pointing out. Right or wrong, doesn't matter.
Governmental choice. Yes.
Yeah.
Governmental choice.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Correct.
They didn't ask me my opinion. Did they ask you yours?
No.
It sure did not.
We told them what it was anyways. But
we gave it. That's the cool thing. We get paid to tell them our opinion.
Right. I think it's so diversely different. I have a good friend that owns Night Academy just down the parking lot from us. It's a preschool / tutoring facility, and he does driver's ed and all that kind of stuff, and he March 1st signed a lease for his soda pop company, and he's like, shit. So I feel for him, but his plight is different than mine. It is equally as awful, but it's different. He, had different kind of payrolls, and he ended up taking a job at Amazon so he could offer his employees more hours.
Wow.
He offered him his hours. He went and got a job with Amazon doing delivery. I mean, how noble is that?
That's crazy. That's great.
Some of us, and I'm, not to tote anything, but I didn't take a paycheck this whole time. And normally I could. But now I'm not going to be a part of my problem, because it is way more important that my business survive. And, God bless Jacob, has a great job and can provide very nicely for us. So that's not a problem.
But at the same time, it's like going back to the startup mode, right? Where for a year or two, you're probably not going to get paid.
Well, exactly. And so I had this young man come in yesterday, and he's like, Laura, I'm wanting to do this thing. Can I pick your brain? You've had so many businesses. And I'm like, absolutely, come on in. But he was laughing because he comes in and he goes, so what's that, what's your profitability? Is it like 35%? And I just start laughing, and I'm like, really, great restaurants might hit 15%.
Right.
I'm running roughly between 7 and 10, depending on the month. And some months are negative. They're 0, but the annual, So, if you're doing $2 million at 10%, that's $200,000, which is great. But do you know how much shit you have to do to fix in a restaurant? Things break hourly. Walls get busted down, toilets go down,
brew tanks go wrong, lines get bleeded, whatever.
The system goes out and I lose all of my beer, that kind of stuff. And heaven forbid that happen in summer, because it's really bad if it happens in summer. Winter we can handle a little bit. But all of that kind of stuff. So out of that $200 is all of that improvement, or $200,000 or 10% or whatever is additional, because you're covering payroll, cost of goods, and fixed costs. But there are unfixed costs that are unforeseen. So when you may be profitable, something happens in your hot water heater, and I'm sorry, restaurant hot water heaters are not, $180. They're $3,000. The sandwich tables go out all the time, and how come it is 30 days after their warranty ends? Like, what is that?
Always. Oh, they know exactly. They've done tables on that.
And that's,
those actuaries.
Yeah, AC units only go out in the summertime. Yeah.
Right. It is riddled with things, but then my friend who has Nine Academy doesn't really have those expenses. His other ones that I'm probably not aware of, but it's just all relative to your business. But I do think that this has been a very hard struggle. I think a lot of people open business. And I know another friend of mine opened Taco Redemption. Mike, have you been over there yet to Taco Redemption?
I have not. No, you had me at Taco. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
I'm on my way.
Night Academy. It's over by the Ace Hardware. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay. Yep.
And so she opened it up a few months before all of this happened. Well, I can guarantee you, if you're not a business person and you didn't understand what working capital was for, and to kind of cover that, if you're getting a loan to do this, or even if you're trying to save money to open a business, you have to understand that most businesses are not profitable right away. There's all kinds of expenses you probably didn't foresee, permitting. My boiler cost me $30,000 more than I had planned in my business plan. I had to come up with $30,000 when we first opened that I did not have, so, and then I had $150,000 for 1 year of operating costs. Yay, let's hope that wasn't enough.
But again, you think about the size of that, right? You guys have a restaurant brewery, and you're like, $150,000 sounds like a lot of money.
Great.
But when you're running a restaurant brewery, it's
30,000 of it for a boiler that I wasn't prepared for. And then, we opened up and I'm like, oh shit, food from Shamrock's expensive. That's another $20,000 just because you go from nothing. I have no salt. I have no pepper. I have no milk. I have no meat.
And now you need it in bulk supply.
I need it in bulk supply. That is not a small bill. I think the first order of everything coming in that was cost of goods was around $20,000. That included grain for beer and all of that kind of stuff, but it was $20,000. So here I thought I had a lot of working capital that I did not. So I fear for these people that just started something and maybe they had, inherited $50,000 and they want to open this little shop or this little thing. And then they realize, wow, that doesn't last very long. And the money am I making, I shouldn't have quit my job. I should have held on to my job and let this grow before I decided that's what I'm doing for a living. We find a lot of that. That's a sad situation. But so
let's do this. Let's wrap this up with positive news. I want to hear what you're exted about.
I'm excited about my customers.
I love the honesty. Awesome.
To see people, to talk.
Bingo.
To listen to their story, to give them an ear, to be able to bitch, whine, moan, or I loved it. I did awesome things with my family. It doesn't all have to be bad, what I mean?
Right.
But just to kind of give them a place to come and vent, good, bad, or indifferent, and get to see them. A lot of the locals that we miss. Now, I'm fortunate enough that I get, like Mike, I've seen you come in here. So we have these mild conversations of, I just happened to be in the front of the house when you walked in or something like that. But I'm very excited for them to come back. I got several texts yesterday. Are we eating dinner Monday night over at Saddle? And I'm like, so to be clear for all of your listeners, the answer is no.
Okay.
But Tuesday, yes.
Tuesday, okay.
Because of all of this planning I have to do, new procedures and implement, I have to make sure I can get the staff. I have to then train them. Well, Mother's Day is Sunday. I'm not going to require everybody to come in on Mother's Day and train for opening on Monday. So we're just going to train on Monday. We'll still be open for to-go. That's not changing. We're not closing. But we're not going to have dine-in on Monday, but we will be on Tuesday. And hopefully all the right accoutrement that makes you feel safe, happy, and warm and fuzzy.
Nachos make me feel happy, safe, warm, and fuzzy. That's all it is. I'm a simple man. I really am. But I'm excited to hear that because you are it. You are a shining light at the top of the West Valley. I absolutely love it that you're here. I love you and Jacob. You guys have done such a great job, such a fantastic job making such a cool place in the West Valley. And I look at all the other places out in the East Valley, all those little snobberies, and go, ha ha, we got the cool place right here.
He's a kiss ass, but he's not wrong. I'm going to say that.
Yeah, I'll take it. I like a little ego stroking. Oh wait, it's not that show.
Not that show. No. But let me talk about this. I got to talk about this because you have to tell the story. This is Ray's Gold IPA. This is a staple on your menu. You guys have this going all the time. And I had to, by the way, I had to pry myself from 643. I do love Ray's Gold, but I had to pry myself from that for today's show. Because correct, they are correct. So, but Ray's Gold, I asked you because my name's Ray. My middle name is Raymond.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I wanted to know where Ray's Gold came from, and you told us a story before we got on. But if you can tell us before I review it, where this name came from.
Okay, so it is named after my father. My dad is named Ray, Ray Hollenstein, if you care to know. And he's a good old Buckeye boy. But his father had a gold mine. I remember going to Bullhead City, Arizona, and he had a gold mine out there, and big nugget, they would smelter it down. I guess that's the right word, into the conical shape. And it was awesome, right?
Way cool.
Nobody was rich. It was what he did as a hobby. It was fun. They had, all that kind of stuff. So my dad has always kind of been the guy who followed in his father's steps, and he wanted gold. And I think we have some claims out in the Arlington area, some gold mining claims out there. But he was hunting gold for a while. And it was his I'm retired now. This is what I'm doing. And so he was trying to find gold up in the Yarnell Hill or below Yarnell, the town of Yarnell outside of Congress. And they had a claim on that mine. And they were blowing up the mountainside with some dynamite, trying to find some hidden Spanish gold or something. It was awesome. It was awesome. Yeah. It was a great thing for him to go do every day. It was fun. He told these great stories. There was markers in the earth pointing to where things were hidden. It was whatever. It was great. He thoroughly enjoyed his retired early life, but it didn't work out, of course, like a lot of people. But when we decided to open Saddle Mountain, and loving my dad, and they were a big integral part in helping us get open when I needed that $20,000 to buy that food that I didn't necessarily have. Thanks, Mom and Dad. You know what I mean? They were very helpful. So let's name a beer after my dad. Now, my dad was a Coors Light, or no, I take it. I think Miller Genuine Draft, I think is what it is.
MGD.
Yeah.
Old Paps. We would have done Paps a long time ago. We were growing up. So for me to name an IPA after him was odd, but the reason we did it is because Ray's Gold is brewed with mostly nugget hops, and we felt it to attribute. He's finally got his nugget of gold in this IPA.
That's
Converted my dad to an IPA drinker, by the way.
Nice.
Totally is
awesome.
He
there's an IPA drinker in all of us. You have to find the right one.
Down no matter what you handed him, but at the time it was
cool.
He really, and every time somebody ordered it, he would tell them it's my beer, kind of deal. And I remember his 74th birthday, I think we had here at the brewery, and of course I bought everybody, about 150 people who just happened to be dining here. That
very
were
cool.
Let's be clear here, but that tickled him. He is not a very emotional guy at all, but you could tell that really tickled him. So that's
so cool. I love it. Cool. I love it, and it's a fantastic beer. It's not just here's from my dad. Yeah, it's different. It's a different.
It is different. It's different. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and rate this because I like this. This is gold. This is kind of a gold heavy. I feel it's a heavy kind of IPA, and I like that. I like the weight to it, but it's not filling, like it's sitting in my gut. It's heavy in the mouthfeel, and I absolutely love that for it. So I gave the 643 a 9. So I still my favorite beer you make. So this is a solid. And on the Brewmance Beerometer, anything above a 7, we're telling you to go out and get it.
You're allowed your opinion, Mike.
8.5.
Did you say 8.5?
Oh,
8.5.
We'll take
this
it.
This is a fantastic IPA. I love it. Absolutely love it. Great job.
I've had many of those.
I will tell my dad. He'll probably watch this. So
cool. Yeah. Very cool.
All
so,
right,
Laura,
buddy.
what did you drink? I'll get to mine because mine's international. So I want to see what you're drinking.
I'm drinking Strawberry Bitch. Everyone's like, what? Perfect name. So Strawberry Bitch is actually the name of a piece of World War II nose art. She is on I think she's on a B-17. I'd have to look that back up. Forgive me for not having that stuck in my brain. Some other shit's going on in there currently.
I can imagine, yeah, right?
Sorry. But it is a piece of nose art somebody painted. Do you guys know, side story, where nose art kind of came from? Why certain things are painted on the planes that they are? This is just a little side note of World War II kind of memorabilia. So, it's not like they come out of the factory and they have this lovely sticker on them.
Right.
It was the pilots and the ground crew during the war who are bored at certain times and overly at others, that would just, if somebody kind of was an artist, they just wanted to put it on there. But pornography wasn't as readily available back then, but the Sears and Roebuck's catalog was. So you find a lot of the photos for lingerie out of the Sears and Roebuck catalog is what these women look like and what they're wearing. So if you kind of go back and just like Google nose art on airplanes, you'll see a lot of, wow, she's like, you know what I mean? But that's what they used as their models, is this kind of Sears and Roebuck catalog stuff. And I just thought, so Strawberry Bitch is one of those.
I love it.
Cool.
Awesome. Yes. I do remember that section of the catalog.
Awesome. I'm not even going to put it on a scale of 1 to 10 because it's just awesome and I love it. I love all our beers.
It is good.
And they're all 10s.
Yes.
They are all 10. You know,
all 10s.
Our brewer is excellent.
He
and
is.
I'm giving him
True.
tons of good. Raised Gold was a Jacob recipe, but Neil rocks it out. Strawberry Bitch is a Neil recipe. I had to request it. He's not in love with making stuff like fruit beers, but
there's a market for it, right?
Yeah,
and that's like you even said earlier, Laura. Yeah,
people
to each their own, basically. Yeah,
wait,
you do you. You want to drink Strawberry Bitch? Drink Strawberry Bitch.
Yeah,
and mad at you.
The bitch is back is like the biggest headline when it hits social media that we had, because we don't do it all. And there was like, the bitch is back, and they're like,
I love it.
So no, it's a well-received beer for sure.
No doubt.
Nice.
Now, I didn't obviously have access to Saddle Mountain because I've basically stayed in a small perimeter, and I'm a North Phoenix guy, so I went with something from New Zealand. So what the heck?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, look, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is Operation Clear Out Rob's Beer Fridge, because I actually have a fridge. So we bought this house that we live in now, and we already had a fridge in our rental house, but this house came with a fridge. So we're like, well, what are we going to do with it? Beer fridge. So, you load up your beer fridge, and now I'm like, well, there's no better time to drink your good special beers than in quarantine. So this is a delivered from New Zealand garage project, fresh IPA, and damn, this is good.
Okay.
This is good beer.
Nice.
Is it?
It's
Does it say what hops they put in it?
Let's see.
Does it tell you?
Oh boy.
Let's see if I can
it's
find
in New
out.
Zealand. He doesn't speak that language.
Simcoe, Amarillo, Galaxy in Columbus.
There you go. So Simcoe in the right amounts I can tolerate, but that is not my favorite hops because it's very cat pissy, I guess is a good way.
It smells that way.
That's just that's an inherent quality to that. If you like it, you like it,
I do.
Pissy.
I do like some Simcoe hops. Smell aside.
Yeah,
there you go.
I would love that. The taste isn't that bad. It's actually in the nose of smell.
Okay.
This is 7%.
Okay.
I'm gonna get. There's nothing wrong with it. So I'm not gonna give it a 10 because I've never given a 10. So I'm gonna give it a 9.
Dang.
This is. I would drink this all day.
9.2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. No,
I've only given a couple 9.5. So my
Now-
top echelon is 8.5 to 9.5. In that range, the beer's phenomenal.
Okay,
awesome.
because we are going back to the studio, because we cannot encourage everyone to go back to work and not ourselves get our butts back to work as well. I did this morning. I got a bottle of this for Rob, and I got him the 643 as well.
Okay.
So he's got 2 bottles coming to him tomorrow for a little something. See?
Yeah, my
There
bad.
we go.
Hey, I'm gonna tote a little bit. So Neil is doing a Smash IPA series. So we've had 4 in the series so far, 3 or 4, forgive me. But the next one is not far away. So as soon as the Cascade Smash runs out, there'll be another Smash something. And I love it because you understand Smash, what that means, right?
Mm-hmm.
Single malt and single hopped. So it's 1 malt and 1 hop. And so whatever the beer is has all the profiles of that hop, which is really cool. And I will tell you, hindsight 2020 was pretty good.
Well, Cascade Smash was our
Cascade.
Right. But that was our last. That was one of my beers of the week 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago
on the radio. Absolutely, yeah, that was fabulous. Yes,
you know, because I had to tell the boy makes really clean, good beer.
He
really does.
Whether you like it, that's on you. But it's
but there's going to be one you like, right? Regardless.
Well, I mean, not everybody likes stuff. I don't, you know.
Yeah, right. No, but you guys have a variety.
We really tried. Yeah. The premise was, let's brew some stuff, get it out there, leave things that people love, leave them alone. Let it be there so you can always come get a Chasing Tail, a Raised Gold, a Clandestine, you know that. And we've actually changed a few of them. But and then we do 4 or 5 different ones in rotation all the time. But we really try not to have a heavy IPA list or a heavy amber list or a heavy, you know, stout list. We don't, it's really never really heavy one way or the other. It's pretty across the board. Something for
and some win gold medals, and some just happen to go win gold medals.
Whatever.
Yeah. You know, whatever.
Hey, does it count that we didn't get to do the World Beer Cup again? Because that would have been in April. But that's a 2-year accolade, I guess is a good
running. Yeah, it's
do I get it for 4 years now that we got the silver World
Olympics? Yes, silver medalist in the Beer Olympics.
I'm taking it. Yeah.
We'll count this year, and then next year when you go win it. Then
it's only every 2 years, so I don't know what they're doing. So
it's like a weird leap year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll do it twice in a row and get us back on the schedule of.
All right. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Good. Laura, thank you for joining us. Thank you for just telling us exactly how it is and giving everyone a real clear picture of what's going on, what happened, what that meant to small businesses, and what that meant to even and I'm not kissing up to you, but even what that meant to one of a business owner like you that is planning, that has plans, that has done this before, and is not just a rookie in the business world. This rocked you as well, and we appreciate how open you were, and we appreciate you sharing all of this with us, and it gives everybody a good expectation, hopefully, of what's coming down the pipe. And I'll see you on Tuesday.
Oh, awesome! I'm going to really try to be here most of Tuesday to get to see and talk to people and that kind of stuff. So, Rob, when you decide you're out and adventurous and you're coming, let me know. We would love to break bread. That would be awesome.
Yay! Yeah, it'll happen. I'll get out there. You know, now that we're getting back to normal, the in-laws live in Buckeye. Mike obviously lives not too far, so I'll get out there, sooner rather than later.
Okay.
We'll get him out there.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly. That's Laura Hansen, the owner of Saddle Mountain Brewing. Mike Russell, Rob Hunter. We are the Brewmance. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for enjoying this conversation as Laura got real honest with us, which we loved. That's exactly what it is. Crack on a beer, have interesting conversations. That's what we preach here at the Brewmance. Get us on Facebook, facebook.com/the Brewmance. On Instagram at _Brewmance. Brewmance.beers, the website. We got T-shirts there for you. The profits, if you buy the bundle, going right towards brewers like Laura's Saddle Mountain Brewing. We want to help keep them afloat as long as possible because we just don't know what's coming up ahead. So, again, thanks for joining us. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, rate, review. Other people can find out about it that way. That's what it told us. But until next time,
cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
You had to do it, didn't you? You had to do it.
I did. I have buttons to push now. So that's.
Sound effects. Is that what that is?
Yes.